Nice to have you here. Welcome to the next little polishing tip and a question that has come up repeatedly, which is related to this topic, namely polish made simple. When do I realize that I need to add new polish to the polishing pad? Or how can I tell that I might not need to do it because there is still enough in the pad? Is there perhaps a simple method for this? I believe so. I'll show you my version of how I find that out, and it's actually so simple and easy to do. Let's take a look at it. Have fun, and we'll briefly and compactly look at the whole topic here on the hood. You can see from the last video on polishing with a cordless screwdriver that I still have a few small residues. No, we have really bad holograms on it, with some serious sanding marks, and it will become even more visible with the lamp. So it looks like there are still real micro scratches on here, huge swirls, and also very, very strong sanding marks, so there are really round scratches on it. Really extreme. And that's what I wanted to remove now. That's why we're grabbing a real power machine here, specifically the 15 from chemicalworkz finish pad, and we can tackle the polishing topic right away, and then I'll have a nice bright blue surface again. We now have a fresh polishing pad, and my tip is that we can immediately address the topic of applying and distributing the polish as well. My tip is to press very, very lightly on the polish bottle body, after shaking it, of course. Just lightly draw a small spiral shape here. It's ultra little polish, so it's really very, very little. It always looks like a lot from above. Then close it here. Once, apply it to the polishing pad, and you can also distribute it a bit with the head. That's why I like to close the head beforehand, so you don't squeeze out more polish while distributing. And then you can gently work it into the pad along this line, and we will also take a look at how it distributes. The advantage now is that you have already distributed enough polish on the surface so that it can start working properly right away without having to be completely processed and spread out in the pad with 3 points first. You have a nice distribution right away, and your head is clean again without having anything on your hands and no contact with the polish at all. It just works really well with it. That would be the first amount. Now let's quickly go to the surface, and I'll remove the streaks with the 15 for a moment, distributing it briefly on level 2. That's my favorite level for the distribution process. And you can see here, everything goes really quickly. At level 1, it doesn't spin nicely enough to let it glide properly. That's why I switched to level 2. At that level, it runs super smooth, and you can easily guide it over the surface. And now we simply go to level 6 or 5 here. You can choose whichever you prefer, and then with normal pressure, smoothly run along the path evenly, and then we actually already have our result. Everything at original speed. Let's take a look at the pad. Almost complete distribution. I would say about 90 to 95%. You can also see very slight small streaks, but otherwise it is distributed super quickly. Now I will quickly polish this out. Let's take a look at the result, and then we will talk specifically about the topic of adding polish. So, for me, 15 as the main machine with 125 people is simply number 1. And you can see that here in the results, that's the reason. You have all the power coming into play in a short amount of time, and you don't need to press down hard. You get such an amazing polishing performance, and you have a super clear image. Look, this is absolutely fantastic. Let me grab the lamp as well. I haven't even done 5 or 6 cross passes. We now have the finish, and it's just absolutely top notch. Super good. So, Dr. 15 people, as the main, the large machine is ideal. So now the question is, let's assume we want to polish over this area again because maybe not all the scratches were removed in the cutting phase. How can we find out if we need to apply more polish here? It's very simple, especially with the SONAX polishes. As you can see here, the dust formation is 0.0. Now just take your polishing machine and press it down briefly again. Simply place it here on the hood on your surface and press it down briefly again. Just make about 4 or 5 stamps and then you'll see how much polish comes out here. So there is still a lot of leftover polish that is still nice and wet. Nothing is dusty at all. If it looks like this, you can easily work on the area again. This means you don't need to add any fresh polish here just yet. You can just spread it out a bit more. Look how much polish you still have available. I just want to show you this. You don't need to apply new polish again because you still have a lot of good, healthy, fresh polish in the pad. Either the polish in the pad really needs to be replenished because nothing is coming out of the pad anymore, or you simply have a reserve available again and again. And now we could simply go over it again here directly because we still have so much polish in it. So in this case, we don't need to add anything at all. So, that was more of a paint cleaning step. Now we will see the next part, and that's why I'm making this video so detailed for you. Do you see that the polish gradually pulls inward over time? This means that you can see the white area or the lightened area getting larger towards the center while it becomes a bit fainter out here. This means that due to the eccentric movement, a vortex is created here, which I have explained to you many times in the videos. This means that the polish gradually moves inward. This means that this area will be the first area where the polish, at some point, may not be visible anymore, but other brands might cause the whole thing to eventually crust over, making the small pores no longer visible, and that you will need to clean it again. But here in this condition, you can still use the pad loosely, no problem at all. We will polish it out again. Let's just take another cloth that is right next to it. And now let's take a look at how much polish is still in the pad. Let's see how much polish is still coming out of here. I'll go to this spot, and also here. Look at this small area. Yes, you can already see it, it's becoming noticeably less. This means that the available amount of polish is continuously decreasing. And now you could say, for example, okay, let's add a little more. And in this condition, just take the bottle again. And now I would just hold the support plate, open the cap, and now just make a ring like this. Nothing more. Then distribute it again. You can now clearly see the difference in the amount of fresh new polish available for you. And then we can work normally again. I will polish over it normally once more, and then let's take a look at how the polish ring. The new polish we applied is now distributed in the pad. I'll go over it again. And there we can already see that everything is moving more and more towards the center. It's also nice to see it so clearly. Here we see this ring, this somewhat red, dark-colored ring. Now you might say, but we just opened a fresh bottle of polish. And it's really impressive to see. On this pad, we have just opened fresh polish. This means that the residues already present in the pad, which were evenly distributed at the beginning, have been reactivated and further spread within the pad, moving towards the center and also deeper into the pad. You can see it here on the side. Do you see that? It's not only moving to the center, but also working its way into the pad structure here. And so, the polish accumulates in the middle of the pad in the foam. Do you see how it has moved in a bit? About 4 mm. And then the nice dark red pad comes back into view. So the polish has dissolved the old residues at this point and carried them inward. And that's why we have this ring. Very, very cool. And now, assuming you have polished here and want to continue working, we can simply go back up here where you have the light again. Look how much polish is still in this system, which is also fully operational. And that's why you only add polish when you no longer have this remaining polish available because it won't come out anymore. When this polish has dried, you will have a dust film on it. Then, as I said, I will get another polish. But as long as you can still squeeze the polish out of this pad and it is still nice and wet, it works really well. So just give it a try. That's a tip from me. Thank you for watching, everyone. Until the next video, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below or contact me via WhatsApp and I can create the next quick tip video for you. The 15th, finish, done in 2 minutes.